Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about transport of substances across the cell membrane. Before this, if you're new to my channel, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more notification and updates. Transport of substances across the cell membrane has divided into two subtypes: passive transport and active transport. Remember one thing: in active transport we need energy, and in passive transport we do not need energy. I will explain this later. Passive transport then divided into two subtypes: sample diffusion and facilitated diffusion. And active transport also divided into two subtypes: primary active transport and secondary active transport. And then secondary active transport is divided into two subtypes. It's called co-transport and counter transport. As we discussed before, that simple diffusion is the part of the passive transport that does not require energy. Simple diffusion. Now, what is simple diffusion? Simple diffusion is the movement of molecules from high concentration to lower concentration without any energy. It occurs directly across the cell membrane, for example, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now, this is cell membrane, and the red dots are carbon dioxide, and green dots are oxygen. Here, here is outside of the cell membrane, and here is inside of the membrane. We see here outside of the cell membrane, here is the level of oxygen and concentration of oxygen is very high, and the concentration of carbon dioxide is very low. And inside the cell membrane, the concentration of the carbon dioxide is high, and the concentration of the oxygen is very low. Now, what happens? This oxygen passes this cell membrane without any channel or without any energy. These oxygen can come here without any energy. And this carbon dioxide, which is inside the cell, it can move outside of the cell without need of any energy. It does not require any channel or pump. It can go outside of the cell without any ATP or without any energy. And now, facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion is also a part of the passive transport that does not require energy, and but some carrier protein are required. And for this reason, it is called carrier mediated transport. For example, glucose transport in the muscle cell. This is a cell membrane, and inside this is a muscular cell. Glucose is passing this cell membrane through this carrier protein. So it does not require any energy or ATP. Now we are going to talk about the active transport. Active transport was divided into two subtypes: primary active transport and secondary active transport. Now we are going to talk about the primary active transport. All active transports need ATP. Mean ATP is required, energy is required. For example, sodium potassium pump or sodium potassium ATPase. What is sodium potassium pump? Sodium potassium ATPase or sodium potassium pump is a channel which is present in the cell membrane. For example, I will give you a simple example. In this case, in the primary active transport, it's against the concentration level. The substances are moving from the lower concentration into higher concentration. For example, this is we need water on the second floor. This is a home. This is one room, and this is another room. In here is water. We need this water in second floor. So we need a pump this water to the second floor, which is called water pump. Water pump. Same story here. The potassium level is lower outside, and the potassium level is very high inside. From lower concentration into higher concentration, the moving of molecule from lower concentration to higher concentration is called primary active transport. When this potassium comes inside into the cell and this sodium go outside of the cell, this is called primary active transport, which needs an energy because it's against the concentration. Now secondary active transport. This is also an active transport. It means it required energy, but not ATP. It used energy in other mechanism. In secondary active transport, one solute, usually sodium, go downhill, and the energy of this downhill moment is used to move other solute uphill. As we said before, secondary active transport is divided into two types: co-transport and counter-transport. Here it is. Sodium glucose co-transport. In this transport, the sodium is moving downhill along the concentration level, and the energy of this moment is used to move glucose against the concentration level. And in this sodium calcium counter transport, in this transport, sodium is moving downhill, and the energy of this downhill moment is used to move calcium uphill. The difference between these two transport is that in this co-transport, the solutes are moving in the same direction. That's why it's called co-transport or same port. In the counter-transport, the solutes are moving, as the solutes are not moving in the same direction. They are moving in the opposite direction. That's why it's called the counter-transport.